And I'm here with Kimberly Leverett. Hi, Kimberly.
Hi, how are you?
What brings you here, and how did you find all these people who want to end the Senate, and why Kimberly?
Honestly, the main reason why I'm out here is I know a lot of people are out here from Ron Paul and stuff, but what really brought me out here was 9/11. 9/11 is what brought us together, and the lack of information that was out there, and well, more the covering up of information that was out there. That the fact that they could hide stuff like that is what brought us out here. We know that there's a lot of corruption within the government, within the financial systems in the government, and that's why we're out here.
When you say a lot of corruption, do you think it would surprise our viewers or whatever that a criminal could ever get in government?
No, not at all. Criminals are bought in government all the time.
And if they did, would they hire their buddies, more criminals?
Most likely, yeah. That's a given.
So would you say it's very infrequently that we as citizens of the United States of America actually get true, good, honest leaders of character?
Absolutely. I completely agree with that.
That's the way I feel sometimes, because when I look at that building, in this case this edifice of a bunch of globalist banksters, that's what I call them, and I say to myself, would I put it past them? Let's see, they can create money from nothing. As far as I know, most all congressmen and senators can be bought. At least that's what they tell me on the news when they catch them being bought, let alone here in Massachusetts. We have some state representatives who evidently like shoving money into their attire, and other ones taking bribes on the side. But why I was saying all that is, if you can create all this money from nothing, these people here, what more would you want? You have all the money.
Our entire system is based on debt. The entire system is built on debt, and a system built on debt is guaranteed to fall, and that's what we're seeing today with the stock markets falling and all that.
Now, did you take Economics 101? How did you figure that one out?
Well, honestly, I'm a CNN junkie.
Okay.
That'll pretty much do it.
I was going along the lines, too, of that if I had all the money in the world or all the wealth, or I could create wealth from nothing, which those people evidently can do, and at the cost to my viewers and your viewers and stuff, I wonder, what do you get after that? You got all the money. Some people say that,
power and corruption.
No, you're wondering, and that's, and for you viewers, have you ever heard of people wanting power? Was there a guy they called Alexander? Was he great? Did he want power? How about Hitler? Did he want power? Mao, wanting power?
Well,
who else we got? Stalin wanted power.
George Bush, after 9/11, made a huge power grab, and it gave him plenty of power.
You trying to tell me that a president took it upon himself to try to give the executive branch more power than the Constitution allowed?
Absolutely.
And are our viewers aware of that?
They should be, and if not, they should do some research and check it out, because it affects everyone in this country, not just us.
Like a baton. Can I have that microphone?
Yep.
So passing me this microphone is very symbolic to how George Bush will be passing to Barack Obama, okay, all these executive powers. Just like handing out here's your baton, Obama, go. And to think that Obama got all his money from globalist banksters like Goldman Sachs. Hey, by the way, our Treasury Secretary, do you know what his former job was?
No, I don't. What was it?
Well, he happened to be the CEO of Goldman Sachs, I believe.
Oh, really?
Hey, who's one of the big recipients of that Federal Reserve bailout money thing? Would you guess?
Who?
Goldman Sachs. Hey, we hired somebody to hand the money out, and this, by the way, hey, they got an amnesty clause. That means you and I can't hold them liable, take them to a court in the United States if they do things like cheat and steal.
George Bush pardoned himself from the war crimes. It's no different. They're following their leader.
This is very true, isn't it? Wow. What do you feel about the distribution of wealth thing, where they take your wealth and they decide where to distribute it?
See, that's one of the main reasons why we're standing out here today.
Even in the cold weather, you're willing to stand out here?
Even in the cold weather. We would be out here if it was snowing. It would not stop us. We would be out here for the same reason. Because we're patriots, and we're trying to take back our country, because they've stolen it from us. They've stolen our ability to live off of anything by ourselves. We rely on the government and their financial systems for virtually everything.
Could this work out similar to that gentleman, George Orwell, who I think was named Eric Blair, who wrote Animal Farm, where he actually, when I say he, Napoleon, this pig, okay, a swine, a pork or whatever, used the dogs, the canines, as muscle to enforce the laws that he wanted?
It's corruption.
Could these bankers, these globalist bankers, these people like the Federal Reserve, the private banking cartel, could they be using the government as muscle to force those viewers to pay taxes?
That's exactly what it is. Our financial system is run by a giant mafia. This is the biggest mafia in the city. It's the Federal Reserve and the government.
Would you call this race between, in our case, the duopoly of Republican-Democrat, which is Republican to me, I don't know about the viewers, but would you call this like the Gambinos fighting the Genoveses?
Actually, I think...
I'm picking on Italians, I apologize. Could have been Norwegian.
I think they're pretty much in the same mafia. That's my opinion. I don't think there's much difference between the two.
Is that because they receive funding from the same people?
Exactly.
Do they belong to the same clubs, like the Council on Foreign Relations?
Or the Freemasons and the Skull and Bones clubs. And
Yes,
those kind of
and
things.
yeah, I want for our viewers. There's roughly about 300 million Americans out there, and we just had a presidential race a while ago where we had Bush going against Kerry and Bush.
Bush and Kerry are cousins.
Well, not just cousins. Cousins? Did you say cousins, Kimberly?
Cousins.
Kimberly said they're cousins. I thought it was funny out of 300 million that they both would have been members of Skull and Bones.
That too.
And what is the symbol for Skull and Bones? Is that the happy sign?
No, it's a skull and crossbones.
How about this one,
A
Kimberly?
poison sign.
In your lifetime, and I know you seem very young and beautiful and all that stuff, but in your lifetime, Kimberly, have you ever seen another would-be leader with a logo?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Not that. Not Skull and Bones.
No, where I was going with the logo thing is recently we have a president-elect. His
Well,
name's Obama, supposedly. And I remember he had a logo. When in Kimberly's life, or even if Kimberly researched history, did you see leaders with logos?
Not presidential leaders, no.
Yeah, it was kind of a first, huh? He's breaking new ground there. I remember a guy in the 30s had a logo. He was in another country over in Europe, but he had a logo. You know, he's like, hey, this is my logo, everybody follow me.
Well, there was Hitler had a logo.
That's what I was wondering, you know?
Swastika.
Everybody, those viewing audience people, many of them think when they go home tonight, the oil tank's going to be full, there'll be a chicken in the pot because Obama's going to be president.
Well,
they think this change is going to make a big one.
Maybe they got the idea for the logo from their friend Hitler there, because the Nazis and Prescott Bush were sleeping in the same bed.
Wow. You know, it's funny because, you know, when you think about it, you know, and we'll go back through our history, I had mentioned to the viewers that there were these two brothers. Their names were Dulles. They named an airport after one of them, and the other one ran the CIA. But it turns out they were both attorneys. Now, that's not bad. I don't mean that all you attorneys are bad, but evidently these Dulles brothers, they were attorneys for Sabin Bank. Sabin Bank was the bank where Hitler kept his bank account. You know, when he had to go to the ATM, he went to that Sabin Bank. And so, gee, now these guys were in the CIA. And what did Bush's dad do?
Bush's dad ran the CIA.
Very good. And he was also a member of?
The Skull and Bones.
Jeez, you know, it's funny how all this comes to place, you know, comes back. And then we could go into the Harriman thing. We could go into Brown Brothers Harriman, you know, this bank that Prescott Bush was involved with, also the Union Bank. We could talk about Thyssen, that German industrialist, who used some of the, I actually live with a lot of when I say survivors, children of survivors of the Holocaust. I reside in a community, okay, that's it was at one point anyway, a very Jewish community. And here's people who not only understood what persecution was, okay, but had relatives who were persecuted. And yet, the interesting thing for those viewers is not many of them consider that, hey, you know what? Whether it's Obama or Bush, it's the same thing. It's those same stinking Nazis.
Yep. We're fighting the same family of bankers we're fighting the same family of bankers today that they originally fought in the first American Revolution. It's the same family of bankers.
Rather interesting, viewers, isn't it? When you meet a beautiful young lady like this, all I could do is I'd want to give her the Info Warrior Bullhorn of the Day prize for being so wise. Who are you who are so wise in the ways of politics?
Thank you. Kimberly Leverett, that's who I am.